recap of what you have done yesterday. Okay, whoever has not been a part of yesterday, I request go through the yesterday's videos because I have told you how to open this Google Collaborator. If and one more thing, please do not use your mobile phone to join this class. Please make sure you are using laptop or desktop to join this class because everything what we are doing it is a practical session. So whatever we do whatever I do in this my screen, you are supposed to do in your laptop as well. Okay, simultaneously we are supposed to do so that you are getting the hands-on experience of what we are doing and not just sitting and listening to the class. Okay, this is a very interactive class. One more thing. Yesterday, if you have not been a part of it, I'll quickly demonstrate how to open a collaborative. So what you have to do is click on this new, go to more, and you can see something called as connect more apps, right? So if you click on this connect more apps, will be redirected to something called as Google Workspace Marketplace. So here you're supposed to search for collab, right? Collaboratory. So this will be the first uh, application. This we are supposed to install it. Okay. Once we are installing this, we are supposed to go to new once again, go to more, and here we are supposed to press on Google Collaborator. So that will be redirected to this particular thing. Okay. So first thing, whenever you open this, first thing you're supposed to do is click on this connect. Okay. Every time you are supposed to do this because every time you close this particular window, it will be it will be disconnected. Okay. The runtime will be disconnected. So make sure you're clicking on this connect so that your session is connected. Once you're completed with all the things what I have demonstrated just now, please give a thumbs up in the chat box. Is it done? If everything is clear and everything you have done it, please give a thumbs up. Everyone, I request everyone to give the thumbs ups. Okay, perfect. So first of all, let's have a quick recap of what we have done yesterday. Then we'll start with the today's session. So yesterday we have learned what is a single line comment, what is a multi-line comment. The single line comment is nothing but we are using hashtag and whatever in front of it, we are writing anything. Okay, that is not considered when the cell is run, but it is important so that we can understand what the code means. Okay, there is a brief description of what the code means, but this particular comment is not a part of a code. Okay, this is just for our understanding. This can be of single line, but this can also be of a multi-line. So multi-line is written like this, that is triple quotes at the beginning and triple quotes at the end, and in between you can use any type of comments. So single line is this much, that is using hashtag, and multi-line is using triple quotes. I hope this is clear, very clear. Next, we have moved on to the print function. So print function, this is a keyword that is used for print, but make sure you're always using P small case. If you use P as a capital letter, this won't be understood by the Python because Python is a case sensitive language. So if I run this, I'll be getting an error saying that print is not defined because it doesn't understand P capital. So always we have to give P as a small case. So this is how you do it. Next, for the syntax of the print function, syntax is nothing but the rules when we are supposed to follow for the any function. Print we are supposed to write. After that, open and close your common brackets, and inside that we are supposed to write anything what you are supposed to print. But always make sure that we are supposed to write inside the double quotes or inside the single quotes or inside triple quotes. So that we have three options: single quotes, double quotes, and triple quotes. But whenever we write, whenever we start with one particular quotes, that has to be ended with the same quote. So for example, I have given here single quote. I cannot end up with a double quote. Okay, I have always supposed to close it with the single quote itself. Next, printing two statements in one print function. It is just very simple. Just we have to give a comma in between so that we are separating two statements. Next, there is something called as separator and end parameters in print function. Now, what are these? Separator is used to separate two statements. So we have something called as hello world and how are you. If I want to separate these two statements with some particular value, by default, this will be a space. Okay. By default, this will be a space. Now, if I want to change that space into something else, then we can change like this with the use of separator parameter. Next, we have something called as the end parameter. Now, why this end parameter is used? This is very important when you compare to the separator. Why it is important in the sense, I have written print hello world and have written print how are you. So if I run this without this end parameter, obviously it will run in two different lines, right? Why? Because the end parameter by default is a new line like this. Okay, it is by default the new line. So even if I run this, I'll be getting the same output. But if I want to change that to a space, what it's supposed to do, it will not go to the new line. Instead, it will print hello, how are you in the same line. Let's see. If I run this, you're getting hello world, how are you in the same line with a space in between, right? This is the importance of end parameter. Next, let us move on to something called as a variable. Now, this is very important. Why? Because variable is used to store any kind of value. Any kind of value in the sense, rather it might be string, rather it might be a float data type, or rather it might be an integer data type, rather it might be a boolean data type. Any kind of data type, it is supported by a something called as a variable. Now, what is this variable? You can see it is a, nothing but a storage thing. Okay, so we are supposed to follow some rules when we write this variable. Now, what are the rules? First of all, always we have to start with a character. Okay, for example, A, B, C, D till Z. Okay, first of all, we are supposed to start with a character. But if you do not want to start with a character, and if you want to start with a number, this won't be the case. This will not be understood by the Python. Okay, that is 1A. Because variable name cannot be starting with a number, or variable name cannot be starting with the integer. But in spite that, if you want to start with the integer, then we are using something called as the underscore. Okay, here also we are supposed to use the underscore, and while printing also we are supposed to use the underscore. Now it is understood by the Python. So always we are supposed to use the underscore in while we start, or else we just start with the character. Next, we can see always start with the character. We can start with the underscore. No space should be given in the variable name. Now, this is very important. If I give space like this won't be understood by the Python. So that is the reason we are not supposed to give any space. In spite of that, if you want to give the space, give underscore. Next, keywords cannot be used in a variable name. Now, what is a keyword? Keyword is nothing but, for example, I have taken print to print the value of 1a plus b, that is 30, right? Now, for this function, I mean, to print it, obviously we are using something called as a print keyword. Now, if this print keyword is used here, that is a variable name, that is not possible. Okay, that is not possible because variable name and the keyword cannot be written. It is not matchable. Always the keyword is different and variable has to be different from the keyword. So much I believe everyone has understood in yesterday's class. Any doubts in yesterday's class? Any doubts in yesterday's class? Please reply in the chat box. Any doubts? I want everyone to reply, please. I want everyone to reply, otherwise you'll be marked absent. We're very serious about your reply. Okay, no, perfect. Now let us start with the basic Python operators. Okay, so let us start with basic Python operators. That is, the first one is arithmetic operator. Second one is assignment operator. Third one is comparison. Fourth one is logical. Okay, now let us start with something called as the arithmetic operators. So I believe everyone knows what is arithmetic operators, right? So first, okay, first very simple question. In mathematics, what are the mathematical operators? Can you tell me? Or you can say, in mathematics, what are the basic arithmetic operators? Can anyone say in the chat box? It is nothing but addition, right? Very good. So it is nothing but addition and subtraction and division and finally multiplication. These are the very basic arithmetic operators. Now let us start with addition. Now everyone knows what is addition and it is very simple to do it also. So obviously it is giving me the example that is A is equal to 20, A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20 and print A plus B. So this A plus B is there, right? This is called as the addition operator and this comes under arithmetic operators. So if I run this, obviously my output will be 30, right? Very simple. But instead of writing print A plus B, I'll be taking one more variable that is called as C is equal to, and I'll add the values of A and B. So A plus B. Okay. Then I'll execute the value of print C. So this will also give me the correct answer, that is print 30. Now, why it is important is, imagine I'll be adding one more variable here. So T is equal to, let's say 50. Okay. Now, instead of writing A plus B plus C here, I can just add here C. But do you think this is a correct way? Do you think we are getting an error here? Because we have something called as A, B, C, and C is already consisting of 50. And we have one more variable with the same name. And again, we are adding A plus B plus C. Do you think we'll be getting the correct answer? Let's see. We will be getting the answer as 80. So 80 is nothing but 50 plus 20 plus 10. That is correct. But why we are not getting any error? Why we are not getting an error? I'll tell you why. Because A is stored as 10, B is stored as 20, and C is stored as 50. What we are doing is, we are just adding them. That is 10 plus 20 plus 50. Now the new value of C will be 80. Okay. The new value of C will be 80. So that is the reason I'm getting the value as 80. Okay. So I believe everyone has got the idea of addition. Let's move on to the subtraction now. I'll give very simple example. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to A minus B, and print the value of C. So basically, I'll be getting the answer as 5. This will go the negative way also. If I make this as 50, we are getting the answer as minus 40. Very simple again. Let's move on to the division. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 2, and C is equal to A divided by B. So this division is required in division. So we don't have the division symbol in computers. So that is the reason we'll be using forward slash for the same thing. So print the value of C. And let's run this. So we'll be getting the answer as 5.0. Now tell me, in yesterday's class, I have told you what is this 5.0. Can anyone tell me why I'm getting 5.0? Which data type is this? Exactly. This is a float data type, correct? This is a float data type. So that is the reason I'm getting 5.0. If I change the value of this to 4, let's say, okay. Now, obviously, I'll be getting the answer as 2.5. So obviously, whenever we are dividing anything, okay, whenever we are dividing anything, so that it is automatically converted into a float data type. But what about this? What is minus 40? Minus 40 is an integer data type, right? So while adding and subtracting, if I write here 10.2, and if I run this, automatically this will be changed into a float data type. By default, it is an integer data type, but automatically if I write any point value, this will be automatically changed into a float data type. Next, let's move on to the next one. Let's say A is equal to 50, B is equal to 10, and C is equal to A. Okay, for multiplication, what I'm supposed to use? It is XB, correct? Am I right? print the value, of C. Am I right? Please tell me in the chat box. No, I'm not right because this is not the symbol for multiplication. For multiplication, we are using something called as the asterisk. Okay, this is the star basically we say. So that is the reason I'm getting the value as 500. That is 50 multiplied by 10. I hope this is clear. Okay, till here I'm pretty sure everyone knows this. Now here from anymore we'll be starting with the very different concepts of assignment operator. In assignment operator, only so much are not there. Okay, for addition there are three more. That are, first one is called as a modulus. Okay, first one is called as a modulus, and this is used for getting a reminder. Okay, this is used to get the reminder. Now, what do you mean by reminder? I'll tell you why. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to A divided by B. And let's print the value of C. So if I run this, I'll be getting the value of 2.5. Now, please tell me, what is this 2.5? What is this 2.5? Multiplication symbol is nothing but asterisk, this one. No, what is this 2.5? 2.5. I'm asking 2.5, not the reminder. What is 2.5? 2.5 is nothing but the quotient, correct? In mathematics, if I want to find the quotient, I'll be using division. Very simple. But let's say I want a reminder also. Okay, I want a reminder also. So how to find the reminder? To find the reminder, we'll be using something called as a modulus operator. And the symbol for this is always a percentage symbol. And this percentage symbol is called as a modulus symbol. So if I run this, I'll be getting the reminder as a 2 because 4 ones are 4, 4 twos are 8. So what is remaining? 2 is remaining for 10. So that is the reason I'm getting the value as 2. That is a reminder. Is that clear? I hope everyone has completed this. Please give a thumbs up once you completed so much. Garima, Harshvardhan, anyone else? What about Sakshi, Vireshwar? Yes. Chayan? Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Now this one is called as floor division. Okay, this one is called as floor division. Now, if you ask me why, what is the purpose of this floor division? Now, I'll tell you why. Floor division, let me move on to the division first. Okay, we have something called as division here. That is A is equal to 10, B is equal to 4, and A divided by B is nothing but 2.5. Now, there is someone who doesn't want this point value. I just want an integer value that is 2. I don't want the point value. The point value has to be discarded. So to discard that point value, we'll be using something called as a floor division. Now, how to use it? It's very simple. A is equal to 10. B is equal to 4. C is equal to A. Instead of one bracket, I want forward slash, we'll be using two forward slash for the floor division. And we'll be using print C. Okay. So A is equal to 10, B is equal to 4, C is equal to A floor division of B. In the sense, we are eliminating the point value and we are getting just the whole number, that is 2. I hope everyone has done this. Let's move on to the last one. Okay, let's move on to the last one. And this is called as an exponent operator. Okay, this is called as an exponent operator. Now, why it is used? Anyone? Why it is used? Okay, I'll explain the floor division once again. So floor division is nothing but, see, we have something called as a division here. right? We have something called as division here. So 10 divided by 4 is nothing but 2.5. But instead of 2.5, I want to eliminate only the point value. Okay. I do want 2.5, but instead I want only 2. That is whole number. I do not want the point value. So to remove that point value or to eliminate the point value, we'll be using something called as floor division. So this will eliminate the point value. So we are getting the value as only 2. So that is the purpose of floor division. Now let's move on to the exponent operator. Now why this exponent operator is used? Exponent operator is very, very, very useful to find out the power of something. Okay. It is used to find the power. Yes, very good. So x is equal to 2 and y is equal to, let's say, 2. Okay. Now I want to find 2 square. Okay. I want to find 2 square. So I'll be using x is equal to x asterisk asterisk is a symbol for the exponent operator. Okay. S asterisk asterisk is used for the exponent operator. So this is nothing but 2 to the power of 2. So the right hand side will be the power and this will be the number. Okay. The right hand side of the asterisk symbol will be the power and the left hand side will be the number. So 2 square is nothing but 4, right? So if I run this, we get an answer as 4. Now if I change that to 3, it will be 8. Right? So 2 cube is nothing but 8. So what about 2 to the power of 6? 64. What will be 2 to the power of 10? So it is 1024. Likewise, you are supposed to calculate exponent operator. Is that clear? Now I'll post one question in the chat box. Everyone has to find the power of it. I'll be posting one question in the chat box. Please look into the chat box. You are supposed to find the power of it. Please find the answer for this. Okay, I got one answer. Garima, very good. Anyone else? Please reply in the chat box. Change the x value to 102 and y value to 8. And tell me what is the answer. So let us change that 102 and the y value as 8. Where on this? Reading 117165938100222656. Yes, perfect. Let's move on to the next operator. So this operator is called as, yes. Can I know your name? Because I'm getting the name as user. Can you just post your name? Okay. So let's move on to the next operator called as comparison operator. Arnav. Okay, Arnav. Comparison operator. Please start with this comparison operators. Now, what are the comparison operators? First one is called as equal to. Second one is not equal to. Third one is less than. Fourth one is greater than. Fifth one is less than or equal to. Sixth one is greater than equal to. So we have 6 operators in comparison. So for each and every one will be with the example we'll be solving this. So I hope everyone has completed till so much. I'll be pasting this in the chat box. If you want to copy, you can copy and paste it in your collaborative. And once you're done, please give a thumbs up. Once you're done with this, please give a thumbs up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 4. Okay, perfect. Let's understand what is this equal to. It is very important to learn what is the meaning of this equal to and not equal to. More or less, I believe everyone knows what is less than, greater than, less than, or equal to, or greater than equal to. But understanding this first operator is very important. Now, why it is that? I'll tell you why. First one, let us write here equal to, and let us start with two numbers. Okay, let me write NUM1 is equal to 10 and NU12 is equal to, let's say, 40. Okay, now you have to tell me whether, one second, whether number 1 is equal to number 2. You have to tell me yes or no in the chat box. Okay, whether number 1 is equal to number 2. No, obviously not. Because number 1 is the value, having the value of 10 and number 2 has having the value of 40. Now, if I change to 40, do you think now it is equal to? Yes, correct. Now it is equal to, both are equal, correct? Number 1 and number 2 are equal. To compare that, we have something called as equal to comparison operator. Now, how it is done is, I'll be taking one more variable called as, let's say, EQL. So to check that whether it is equal to or not, I'll be writing in the brackets number 1 is equal to number 2. Okay, we are checking whether number 1 is equal to number 2, and we are printing the value of equal. So if I run this, it will give me the output in the value of true or false. Now tell me, what is this data type? True and false, it is some kind of a data type, correct? What is that data type? Yes, exactly. It is a Boolean data type, correct? Very good, very good. So it is a Boolean data type. Harshavardhan, very good. So it will give the output in the form of true and false. Now, if I change number 1, so number 2 to, let's say, 42, now it is not equal. So I'll be getting the output as false. So this is the meaning of equal to. Let's move on to the not equal to. It is exactly same. But instead of it giving number 1 is equal to number 2, we are checking that number 1 is not equal to number 2. That is the only difference. So you can see this example. Number 1 is 40, number 2 is 42. We are checking whether it is not equal to number 2. Number 1 is not equal to number 2. Do you think number 1 is not equal to number 2? True or false? What should be the output for this? Whether it is true or false. It is true, correct? Why it is true? Why it is true? Because number 1 is obviously not equal to number 2, correct? It is not equal to number 2. So that is the reason we are getting the answer as true, correct? Now, if I change that to 40, okay, now number 1 is equal to number 2, but our condition is number 1 shouldn't be equal to number 2. Now I'll be getting the answer as false. I hope this is very, very clear. Correct? Okay, let's move on to the next one. That is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than equal to. It's very, very simple. I think everyone can do this by your own. So you can see number 1, we have something called as 40. Number 2, we have something called as 42. Is number 1 less than 42? Obviously, yes, it is less than. So that is the reason I'll be getting the answer again as true. But if the number 1 is greater than number 2, but our condition is number 1 is less than number 2, then I'll be getting the answer as false. Very simple. Let's move on to the next one, that is greater than. Now, it's again very simple. We can see number 1 is 400, number 2 is 42. So we have a condition called as number 1 should be greater than number 2. Obviously, it is greater than. So We are printing the GT and this will be true. Now, if I change the number to 40 once again, now basically it is not greater than number 2. Number 1 is not greater than number 2. This will result in the output as false. Simple. Let's move on to the next one. That is less than or equal to, right? Less than or equal to. Here we can see number 1 is 40, number 2 is 42. Now, why this less than or equal to is required? I'll tell you why. Here, for example, I'll be giving 42. Both are 42, right? Number 1 is also 42, number 2 is also 42. But if I run this, see, I'll be getting the answer as false. Whether number 1 is less than number 2? No. 42 can be less than 42? No. So that is the reason I'm getting the value as false. So to check that whether my number, it should be lesser than a particular number or it should be equal to that particular number, then we are using something called as less than or equal to. So if I run this, okay, obviously you can see number 1 is less than number 2. So this will result in true first. Now, if I change that to 42 also, okay, if I change that to 42 also, initially I was getting the output as false, but now I'll be getting the output as true because 42 is not less than, but it is equal to. Correct? Now, if I change that to 45, this will result in false. I hope this is very clear. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Yes. Let's go to the next one. That is greater than or equal to. Right? Greater than equal to. Again, very simple. We have number 1 as 45, number 2 as 42. Number 1 is greater than number 2. Very simple. If I run this, I'm getting the answer as true. But if I change both the number as 45 itself, so 45 is not greater than 45, but it is equal to. Again, if I run this, I'm getting the answer as true. But if I exceed a number, then I'll get the answer as false. Is it clear? So this is the meaning of comparison operator. Any doubts in this? Any doubts? Please reply in the chat box. Sakshi, no. Harshvardhan, no. What about others? Any doubts? Okay, Arnab, no. Veereshwar, no. Garima, no. Okay, perfect. Let's move to the last operator. Sorry, last but one operator called as logical operator. Okay, logical operators. So why is logical operator is used? So we have 3 logical operator. First one is called as logical AND. Second one is called as logical OR. Third one is called as logical NOT. Okay, we have 3 operators, AND, OR, and NOT. So see the definition of this. Returns true if both the statements are true. Okay, returns true if both the statements are true. In the sense, we have 2 conditions here. Let's say I have 2 conditions. Number 1 should be greater than number 2. That is the first condition. Okay. And also number 1 should be less than, let's say, 1 condition. So both conditions are there. So both the conditions should be satisfied. Only then I'm getting the value as true. I'll give you one simple example. Okay. I'll give you one simple example. First one, starting with logical AND. I'll take 2 variables. X is equal to true. Okay. X is equal to true and Y is equal to true. Okay. So both the conditions are true here, right? X is also equal to true and Y is also equal to true. So I'll be writing Z is equal to X and Y. So if I print this, print the value of Z, what happens? If I print the value of Z, I'll be getting the answer as a true. Why? Okay, my bad. I've given capital Z. Okay. If I run this, I'll be getting the answer as a true. Why? Because both the conditions are true. For this, let us take one more example. I have X is equal to 20. Okay. Y is equal to 20. Let's say 5. Okay. X is equal to 20. Y is equal to 5. Now let us check whether X is greater than Y. So let us write X is equal to X should be greater than Y. So this is the first condition. Okay, you have written the first condition. To check one more condition, I'll be using something called as AND. In the sense, one condition is already done. I want to check one more condition for this particular thing. So I'll be writing X should be greater than 10. Okay. First condition is X should be greater than Y. And the second condition should be X should be greater than 10. Do you think both the condition is satisfied? Yes or no? Is both conditions satisfied here? I mean, both condition is true. Yes, it is true because X is greater than Y and X is greater than 10. So that is the reason I'll be getting the answer as true. Very simple. If I change one of the condition to be false, what happens? Now, obviously, if I write the value as, let's say 9, okay? I have written the value as 9. So X is greater than Y. Okay, X is greater than Y. The first condition is satisfied. But when we move to the second condition, X should be greater than 10. This is false, correct? Because X, new value of X is 9. So that is the reason one is true and one is false. We'll be getting the answer as false always. Because logical AND expects both the conditions to be true. It cannot be both the condition. One of the conditions to be true. It should be both the conditions to be true. Clear? Let's move on to the next one. That is called as logical OR. Okay, logical OR. So I'll be taking the same example, this example, copy it and paste. So we have X is equal to true, Y is equal to true, but instead of AND, we'll be using something called as OR. Okay, instead of AND, we are using something called as OR. Now tell me, what is the difference between logical AND logical OR? I'll tell you what. Logical AND in the sense both the conditions should be true. Okay, it cannot be one condition, both the conditions should be true. But in OR operator, any of the one condition can be a true. So if I change any of the one of condition should be true, that is X is true now, Y is false. But I told you condition of OR operator in the sense any of the one operator can be true. So if I run this, we'll be getting the answer as true because one of the operator is true. But what if both the operator are false? Both the conditions are false. What happens to this? What might be the output? Yes, we can use multiple times in one line. Okay, Vireshwar, we can use AND operator multiple times. So we have used only once here. We can use one more AND also. There is no problem. So what is the output? This is false. Why? Because I told you the condition is any of the one operator should be true. But if both the operator are false, obviously the answer will be false. Correct? So for this, let us take one example. X is equal to 10, Y is equal to 5, Z is equal to, let's write the first condition, that is X should be greater than Y, or X should equal to 10. Okay, X should be equal to 10. So I'll be printing this Z. So obviously, both the conditions are true now. So 10 is greater than 5 and 10 is equal to 10. Both the conditions are true. So that is the reason I'm getting value as true. But what if I'll be changing this to 50? Now what happens is first condition is false. That is x is not greater than y. X is less than y. But we have one more condition, that is x is equal to 10. So that is the reason I'll be getting the answer as true once again. Correct? But what if both the conditions are false? I'll be getting the answer as false. Correct? This is what your logical operator means. And we have the last operator, and we'll wind up the session. It is called as logical not. Okay, it's called as logical not. So what is the importance of this and why it is used? Logical not in the sense, the condition, whatever condition is there, it is the reverse of that condition. For example, we have a beautiful example here. X is true. Okay, X is true. So if you write y is equal to not of X, this will be converted into, it will be reversed. So by default, X is true, right? If you change the y as not of X, this will be converted into false. And what if I change this to false? Can anyone tell me what might be my output? It is true, correct? Exactly. So X is false, not of X is true. X is true, not of X is false, correct? Let us take one example. X is equal to, okay, I'll repeat it, don't worry, I'll repeat it. So we have, okay, we have an example here. X is equal to 10, Y is equal to 5. Now my condition is X should be greater than Y. Is X greater than Y? Everyone please reply in the chat box. Is X greater than Y? True or false? Everyone, I want everyone to reply. Is X greater than Y? X is 10, Y is 5. X is greater than Y. It is true, correct? Everyone knows that it is true. So I'm getting the answer as true. But if I want to reverse this condition, I don't want it to be true. I want it to be false. So I'll be writing not of X greater than Y. In the sense, whatever condition is there, it will be reversed. If it is true, then it will be false. If it is false, then it will be true. So if I run this, my output will be false. So if I write here, okay, now what might be the output? X is 10, Y is equal to 50. X is greater than Y. What is the output? It is false, correct? It should be false. But if I want to reverse this output, I can use something called as a not operator. And if I run this, I'm getting the answer as true. So much is clear. Any doubts still here? Any doubts? Any doubts? Yes, it is only used for reversing the condition. Okay, most of the cases we won't be using not operator. It is an exceptional case. Only in the exceptional case we'll be using the not operator. But logical or and logical not is continuously repeated. Okay, continuously we'll be using logical or and logical not. I hope this much is very clear. Right? Okay, that's it for today's session. We have another 10 minutes. If you want any of the questions or you have any queries or any questions with me, you can just stay back in the meeting or else you're good to go. For tomorrow's class, it will be of 2 hours. That is 6 to 8. I request everyone to join before 5 minutes. Okay, so that we can start at time. And if